All right, so we're going to be looking at 7.3.4 multiply integers. So that's the 7th grade textbook, chapter 3, lesson 4, multiplying integers, which begins on page 233. So on the top of your page, you should be writing all of this. Pause the video if you need more time. The first thing we're going to look at is the real world link, and it says that once a parachute is deployed, a skydiver descends at a rate of about 5 meters per second. Where will the skydiver be in relation to where the parachute deployed after 4 seconds? So descending is usually represented by a negative number. Okay, we're going down, right? They're going down 5 meters in 1 second. So that's their rate. We want to figure out, so that's the answer number 1. That's negative 5 meters in 1 second. Okay. So complete the graphic below. What is the skydiver's position after 2, 3, and 4 seconds? So figure out if they're going negative 5 meters per 1 second, how many meters is that in 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 4 seconds? So go ahead and fill those in, and then write a multiplication sentence to represent the skydiver's position after 5 seconds. All right, so go ahead and do 2 and 3 and pause the video now. So what you should have put in was negative 10, negative 15, negative 20. So after 4 seconds, he's dropped 20 meters. And when I say dropped, I mean negative 20 meters. He's gone down. So negative 20 meters in 4 seconds. The multiplication sentence to represent the skydiver's position after 5 seconds would be negative 5 times 5. So, and I put the parentheses, you can write it as negative 5.5, negative 5 times 5, however, it's all the same. It could be 5 times negative 5 too, right? Just make sure that that parentheses, that you understand this is multiplication going on between the two, that it's not going to be 5 minus 5. That doesn't even make any sense, right? All right. So multiply integers with different signs, and I want you to write this down. Write down the title that says multiply integers with different signs, and then the words. The product of two integers with different signs is negative. Okay, you've got different signs, then it's going to be negative. So if you have a positive times a negative, it makes a negative. So 6 times a negative 4, and remember that's what that means right there, equals negative 24. Negative 5 times positive 7 is negative 35. So you're doing multiplication like normal, but then if it's different signs, your answer is going to be negative. So different signs, your answer is going to be negative. So let's write multiply like normal. Different signs equals negative answer. All right, and then they just show that using the table or the number line here, but that's basically exactly what we just did over here. So I'm not going to have you rewrite that unless you'd just like to have it. Now, the commutative property of multiplication states that you can multiply in any order. So you can do 4 times negative 3 or negative 3 times 4, whichever way. If it helps you to write it with the negative in front so that you don't see it as 4 minus 3, that's fine. But those parentheses do mean multiplication, or you can use the dot or the little x, but you know, we try to get away from the little x now that we're older. All right, so now let's write example 1, and you're going to put 3 times, and in parentheses, negative 5. So 3 times negative 5, we do 3 times 5, it's 15. The signs are different. This is a positive 3 and a negative 5, different signs. We're going to have a negative answer. Negative 6 times positive 8, again, we're going to have multiply like normal. That's 6 times 8 is 48. Different signs, negative. Okay, different signs, negative. So negative 48 is the answer. Very simple rule. Multiply, different signs, negative. Done. So, and I don't have a song for this, so you're going to have to, work on that. And a lot of times, guys, the biggest mistake that people do is they want to use the add and subtract rules to go with the multiplication divide rules. They're not the same. They're not the same rules. So, same signs, well, we'll go over that. So, different signs, negative answer, end of story. Doesn't matter which one the bigger number is. I know with add and subtract, the bigger number, you take the sign. That's not what we're doing. If for different signs, it's negative, okay? Now, multiplying integers with the same signs, I want you to write that down. And then the words are that the product of two integers with the same sign is positive. So we've always learned that a positive times a positive is a positive. We've learned that all along. But now what we're adding in is that a negative times a negative actually makes a positive. So two wrongs make a right in this case. Haha. All right, so let's see. The product of two positive integers is positive. You've used that all along. Now you're going to see that if you use a pattern to find the sign of the product of two negative numbers, you start with 2 times negative 3. Okay, so they're just using the pattern. 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. We just talked about that. 1 times negative 3 is negative 3. 0 times negative 3 is 0. And then when you continue on, notice that that as you multiply that number, it adds 3 every time we decrease one of the multipliers. We leave negative 3 alone, but we're changing this. We're decreasing it as we go. And notice that that's actually increasing the values because your multiple of negative 3 is actually going away. So when you see the pattern, it helps to understand that a negative times a negative does end up equaling a positive, and it's just giving you that idea. So I like this part right here. Positive times negative equals negative. We know multiplication property of 0 means anything times 0 is 0. And then you find that negative times a negative equals a positive. So I like that. So each product is 3 more than the previous product. This pattern can also be shown on a number line. And if you extend the pattern to the next two products, you'll see that they just keep increasing by 3, increasing by 3. Now the stop and reflect says, write 3 integers with a positive product. At least one of them must be a negative integer. Show your work below. So you're going to write 3 integers with a positive product. At least one of them must be a negative integer. So 3 numbers multiplying is what they're talking about. So if you had 3 times negative 4 times another number, because here's my positive, here's my negative, I need my answer to be positive. So if you've got one negative, what do you need to do to make this positive? Because these two are going to make negative 12. What do I need to multiply by to make it into a positive number? I need to multiply by a negative number. So let's say negative 2. And so negative 12 times negative 2 will end up being positive 24. A positive 24 because it's negative 12 times negative 2. So if you're going to use 3 integers like this says to make a positive product, you'd have to have 2 of them that are negative so they cancel each other out. You could have them all positive, but this exactly said that one of them must be negative. Well, if one of them's negative, I have to have at least one more negative to make it work. All right? So, example 3 says find negative 11 times negative 9. And once you understand that integers have the same sign, the product is positive, you're just multiplying, and it's a positive answer. Multiplying, it's a positive answer. So, it's 99, and then 2 negatives make a positive. 2 wrongs, in this case, make a right. Woohoo! Number 4 says find, and in parentheses, negative 4 squared. Because negative 4 is in parentheses, it means the whole thing is being squared. This is different than negative 4 squared without parentheses, because this is the same as saying negative 1 times 4 squared, and it would end up being a negative answer. They put it in parentheses, because they're saying they want it to be -4 times -4. And so that is a positive 16, because 4 times 4 is 16. Negative times negative makes positive. Now, number 5 shows that three-part multiplication problem. So -3 times -4 times -2. You can group them up. -3 times negative. Oh, that's funny because I almost had the exact same problem, and that was not on purpose. -3 times -4 makes positive 12, because 3 times 4 is 12. Negative and negative, positive. Then we have a positive times a negative. So I multiply 12 times 2, and that's 24, but one's a positive, one's a negative, and so you end up with a -24 answer. So if you have 3 negatives like this, it's like 2 wrongs make a right, and then you've got the right that go with the wrong, and it's just wrong. I don't know. Anyway, moving on. So please do C, D, and E on your own. Pause the video now. All right, so you're just basically doing the multiplication. 12 times 4 is 48. A negative times a negative is a positive. So 48 is my answer. In this case, -5 is in parentheses and it's squared, so it's going to be -5 times -5. And then that's going to be 25, and a negative times a negative makes a positive, so 25 is the answer, positive. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and take care of this group. 7 times -5 is 35. A negative times a negative makes a positive, so it's positive 35. Times, and I'm going to bring down my -3. So now I'm going to do 35 times -3, and that's going to be 105. Positive times negative makes a negative, and so my answer is -105. So that's what you should have. Example 6 says the submersible is diving from the surface of the water at a rate of 90 feet per second. So diving. Diving means going this way, right? So -90 feet per 1 minute. This is just like that beginning example that we did. What is the depth after 7 minutes? So I basically would repeat this down 7 times and add up all my -90s, or I could say it's -90 times 7. So that's going to be 630. Positive and a negative make a negative. So he's going, and if I were to write this in words, okay, negative 630 feet is a good answer. See, it's right here. But I think that if you were to say it in words, you would say it's descending 630 feet below the surface, or he's diving, or whatever this, I don't know what a submersible is. So something is diving 630 feet below the surface, and that will indicate that it's a negative. So now you're doing this example, F. Mr. Simon's Bake automatically deducts a $4 monthly maintenance fee from his savings account. Write a multiplication expression to represent the maintenance fees for 1 year, then find the product and explain its meaning. So explain its meaning, that's what we're talking about. That's what we had to do in this last one. Guys, I'm videotaping. Sorry. And so go ahead and do this one on your own, and then when you come back, I'll have the answer for you. All right, so it's deducting monthly fees, monthly maintenance fees. Deducting means to subtract, so it's $4 per month. Now, I want to figure out how much it is in 1 year. I hope that you guys know how many months are in a year. And so we need to take that -4, and we're going to multiply it times 12 months. So we're going to do our 4 times 12, which is 48, a positive and negative, so we get a negative. Of course, he's paying $48 per month, or per year. So $48 is deducted per year. Is basically what we're going for. Okay, it's a negative, so when I say $48 is deducted, that's me saying it's a negative. Okay, so -48, and then saying it in words to explain the meaning. $48 is deducted per year. Alright guys, that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you in school. Bye.